All right, let's go ahead and get this started. Let's go ahead and talk about a little bit about motivation, a little bit about meditation, and a little bit about inspiration. If it's not one of the three, I don't want it. So let's go ahead and start talking about focus as we're waiting for people to start queuing in here, start asking the questions. What exactly is an energy reading? Let's go ahead and start getting down with the ability to focus to the point where we utilize what we do have, because it's never about what we don't have, it's always about what we do have and what we do with what we got. So let's go ahead and start looking at this, how we can utilize it on a daily basis, how the challenge that we go through we can overcome, how we can utilize focus to the point where the things that we want to achieve we ultimately can achieve. So let's go ahead and start looking at how it's possible to get to that place so that you can do so. So every single day I ask myself the question, is it about motivation? Is it about meditation? Is it about inspiration? And so the answer usually is yes. If it's not, then I don't want it. I don't want to be a part of it. I don't want anything to do with it. So let's go ahead and start looking how we can start utilizing this kind of thought process, how we can utilize the foundation of focus, how we can utilize the challenges that we go through on a daily basis so that we can achieve a level that we would like to achieve, so that the challenges that we face off against we can overcome. Each individual, each ability to speak it out, each ability to utilize the universe in such a way that it has the ability to use what you have inside of yourself, which is ultimately the tools that you have available to you. So how can you use what you do have? How can you use the gifts that you have inside of yourself? How can you start to find a place inside of yourself where your level of focus starts to use the things that you have? How can you start utilizing this universe in such a way that blessings come out, that other people actually ultimately start to see the blessings inside of themselves? They start to see that the ability for them to be themselves comes from a reflection from within oneself. So let's start looking at what it is to focus, what it is to get into the place where we're using focus on a daily basis, and how we can use this to overcome challenges that we are ultimately going to face off against. So you have to ask yourself that type of question. How can I use this universe? How can this universe be a place for me? How can I turn the things that were working against me towards my favor? How can I start to put myself in a thought process where I have the ability to overcome my own challenges, where I have the ability to sit down with myself, where I have the ability to speak it out, where I have the ability to get down with the challenges that I ultimately have inside, so that the reflection outwards radiates, that other people will definitely see that you are successful, that you are strong, that you are motivated. And so it's as simple as listening to yourself. It's as simple as listening to the type of challenges that you're facing off against and giving yourself that ability. And so as we allow ourselves to have that kind of time, as we allow ourselves to get to that type of place where the challenges no longer have the ability for us to not overcome them, and we start to overcome our challenges by recognizing that focusing to the point where the challenges that you face off against you have the ability to overcome. Focusing to the point where the things that you are facing off against isn't about somebody else. It's not about somebody else when it's you versus you. When it's you versus you, it's absolutely about you versus yourself and the ability to use what you have inside to overcome the challenges that are being put in front of you. So some of these challenges that are going to be put in front of us on a daily basis are going to ask us if we truly want what we're looking for, if we truly want to achieve the dreams that we want to achieve. The ability to achieve these kind of dreams requires a mentality, an able mentality, which can utilize your level of focus. So as the focus works as a tool, as the focus starts to work as a foundation, as the ability to use what you truly have inside of yourself, the reflection that radiates outwards will start to come from within you. The reflection outwards will come from your level of focus. It will come from the place that you take yourself, that you get to with you, the things that you go through on a daily basis, the things that Ask you the type of question, can you achieve this? Can you actually get down with yourself to that point where you understand that there is no challenge that you're not facing off against that's not within yourself? And so how can we start to do so? How can we actually get to that place where we ultimately start to face off against ourselves? Well, one of those things that actually is a beginning of that is recognizing that nobody's going to lift you up for you. Ultimately, the person who has to lift themselves up, the person who has to make the choices, is you. You have to make those choices for yourself to lift up. You have to make the choices for yourself to write stuff down, to recognize that the place that you are is where you put yourself. The challenges that you're going through are the things that you're going through on your own. And the ability to get to that place is a blessing. So I am also doing energy readings as I'm talking about focus, which as I do every day for the first 30 minutes. So if you'd like an energy reading, you're welcome to call in. And so as we get down with the ability to get to that place where what we're utilizing is the tools that we have in this universe, as we get to that place where the tools in this universe, like the ability to write stuff down, like actually putting challenges in front of yourself so that you can overcome them, so that you can actually get to the place where you identify that the ability to be yourself, the ability to face off against your own challenges, the ability to get down with the person that you truly are on the inside has that ability. And so when you focus to that point, when you give yourself that type of time, when you actually get to that place inside of yourself where the reflection starts to radiate outwards, that's when other people start to see that from you utilizing what you do have, the reflection radiates outwards, and they start to see that you are motivation. They start to see that you are self-study. They start to see that the things that you ultimately are going through are becoming a process. They're becoming a part of your daily. You look up, you wake up for them. You wake up to be able to achieve them. You wake up to, put yourself in such a place that the focus becomes a reflection on the outside. So how can we start to get to that place to use those kind of tools to where what we have inside starts to become a reflection on the outside? How do we start to overcome the things that other people wouldn't be able to do for us? How do we start to move these things that are not meant for us out of the way? How do we ultimately get down with these type of challenges to the point where the reflection that is radiating outwards is letting other people see that you have what it takes, that you have that ability inside of yourself, that the challenges that you face off against yesterday, tomorrow, next week are no different. That in fact it comes down to your level of focus, your ability to utilize those challenges in such a way that you can overcome them. That your ability to get to that place with yourself is ultimately going to be you versus you. It's going to be you answering yourself. It's going to be you challenging yourself. It's going to be you writing this stuff down, putting yourself in such a way that these type of challenges no longer have an effect over you. They no longer have the ability to stop you. They no longer have the ability to allow things that are not you to affect you. And so, just like when we're in school, we have to study. Just like when we're in school, we have to learn. And so we can learn from our level of focus. We can get to the place where what we're utilizing is there for us, that we can overcome things and that we can ultimately become that type of positivity. That positivity can radiate outwards from within. That the ability to choose positive, to actually put yourself in a place where you allow your level of focus to take everything that's working against you and for you and turn it for you. Take it and actually put it in such a way that you have that ability, that other people don't have the ability to stop you from focusing. When you give yourself that ability, when you give yourself that kind of permission, when you give yourself that place to perform at that level, to become that kind of professional, to get to that place inside of oneself where ultimately what we're utilizing is the ability to utilize what we do have. then other people start to see the gifts that you have from within yourself. They start to ask, how were you able to achieve that? How is that possible? How can you do that when other people would just give up? And the answer to that question is through focus, through creating a foundation within oneself, from finding a place where when you truly write stuff down, the results that you see there, you start to turn them positive. You start to take them and put them in such a way that other people start to recognize that the types of challenges that they're facing off are no different than the ones that you are. The thing is, it's not for you. It's for them to find those challenges themselves. It's for them to overcome those challenges themselves. It's for them to be able to utilize that level of focus as an absorption to actually put that stuff down on paper or on a computer or somewhere where they can actually write it down. The key is to use the things that you do have, to use the universe in such a way that the tools that you have work for you. The tools that you have inside start to utilize what you have, utilizing the energy inside, utilizing the ability to understand yourself, to understand how you work, to understand how the things that you go through on a daily basis have that ability to become overcome. And so as we focus to that point, as we give ourselves that ability, as we hit those kind of challenges head on, the things start moving out of the way. They literally move out of the way on their own. They ultimately open up the ability for us to focus to the point where it doesn't have the ability to stop us anymore. It actually starts moving in our direction. It actually starts putting us in such a way that we start to find a way to overcome our own challenges. And so when you focus to that point, the things that you truly want start to become possible. The things that you truly want start to become available. The things that you truly want start to happen for you. And when they start happening with you, then you recognize that the reflection that other people are seeing is a reflection of motivation. It is a reflection from within oneself. It is that ability to get to that place to face off against those types of challenges, to reach into oneself and understand the energy that flows inside in such a way that we focus to the point where what we achieve is light. That when we focus to the point where when we write stuff down, we see the positivity and then it drives you forward. We see the positivity and we put ourselves in a way where everything starts to become positive, where every challenge that we face off against starts to be turned in our direction. And so, like as if you were playing chess and there was two people playing chess and it was you versus somebody else, at which point do you start to win? At which points does the pieces and the pawns no longer matter? Is it at the point where you capture the king? Is it at the point where you get to achieve yourself, where you achieve who you truly are on the inside? And so when we start to focus to that extent, where when we're listening to positivity, when we're listening to people, we're hearing what they're saying, we're utilizing the things that they have, we're seeing how it can work for me, and for you as well. And so when we allow ourselves that kind of focus, when we start to use these kind of tools, when we allow ourselves to speak things out, when we allow ourselves to use the tools in this universe, we utilize the Most High in this universe, the ability to use these types of things, become a reflection on the outside to the one who's willing to face off against themselves, the one who's willing to write stuff down, to speak stuff out, to listen to others who have had the ability to achieve that through a reflection. And so a lot of times when you go online and you listen to YouTube videos about motivation, what you're looking for is for their level of focus. You're looking for how they achieved what they achieved, how they were able to do what they did, how they got to where they are. And so as you recognize that they are focusing to that point, that they are focusing to that ability, that they are achieving those things with things that are not any different than what you can do yourself. It's never going to be about you versus somebody else. It's always going to be you versus you. It's always going to be you that's going to be able to stay up that one extra hour. It's always going to be you that's going to wake up that much earlier. It's always going to be you that's going to have to get it yourself out of bed. It's going to be you who's going to have to start your day ultimately. So it's you versus you. It's never you versus somebody else. And so how do we start to get to that kind of a place where an able mentality starts to come out, to where when you are writing stuff down, the mentality is being absorbed. The mentality is giving the place. The mentality is giving you that ability to have challenges in front of you because you know that you can overcome them. Because you know that it is available to you to face off against. And so a lot of times, the challenges that we're facing off against is only within ourselves. It's only there for us to see that we can be a master of our own level of focus. We can create our own foundation. We can create our own place within ourselves. We can find a way to overcome challenges that other people would not overcome. And so that is where we start to recognize that it is a blessing to be yourself. It is blessing for you to focus. It is a blessing for you to find a foundation within yourself to where it becomes available to you, where it becomes a part of you, where when you know that what you're facing off against is no greater than yourself, then the greatness within yourself starts to radiate outwards. The greatness within yourself starts to become a reflection. And so when we focus to that point where we stand on our own, where we stand no matter what other people's opinions are, that's their opinion. What you think about yourself, what you know about yourself, what you are focused on with yourself, what you ultimately become is a reflection and a manifestation from within oneself. There's always going to be challenges around us. There are always going to be people asking us the question, can you get back up? In fact, the universe is going to ask you this question. Can you get back up? It's going to ask you, can you do this? Can you achieve this? Can you become this kind of a light? Can you find a way when other people are telling you that you're failing? When they're saying that you're in a dark place by yourself? When they're saying it's not possible for you to achieve it? Are you finding that within yourself? When other people are dropping the ball and you are still going, when you are within who you are, and that level of reflection starts to radiate outwards, where when your companion drops the ball on you, are you still together? When you are put in a place where other people wouldn't want to go, are you achieving a part of yourself that other people would not want to achieve? And so that's where that reflection of focus starts to become a foundation. That's where that reflection of focus starts to become an ability. It becomes an able mentality. It becomes a muscle. It becomes an ability to use the things that you do have. And this universe has many things and many tools that we can utilize on a daily basis. We can utilize energy. We can utilize the ability to write stuff down. We can utilize the ability to listen to positivity. We can utilize the ability to speak it out and to put ourselves in a place where when we have challenges, we overcome those challenges. A lot of times people are trying to focus on too many things and then they don't focus on themselves. They don't focus on the one thing that matters the most to them. They don't focus on the one person that matters the most. They don't allow themselves to have those types of challenges. They withdraw from the ability to see the strength from their level of focus, from their ability to see that they can do this, that the things that are not meant for them move out of the way on their own, that there's no reason to be afraid, there's no reason to have fear within oneself, because the universe will move the things out of the way that are not meant for you. The universe will move the things out of the way so that the blessings can come your way, so that the blessings can come through you, so that the universe can utilize what you do have, that you can see that you can achieve things, you can become things. And it's a lot of our times what's limiting us is our brain, our ability to get to that place where focus becomes that kind of foundation, where it starts to have that type of mentality, where it has that ability to lift you up from yourself. And so when you face off against you, and you give yourself that ability to pick yourself up, when you give yourself that ability to see that the tools that you have available to you in this universe have that place, that the ability to see these kind of reflections radiating outwards from within you, when other people start to ask you questions in your profession, in your day, in your week, hey, are you willing to do this? Are you willing to go to this place? What type of mentality do you have then? What type of place do you have within yourself at that time? How can you get to that place within you to where what radiates outward is coming from within you? And so when we focus to that point, when we get to those kinds of challenges, when we get to those kinds of challenges and we master them, and we put them down and we remaster them, and we put ourselves in a place where the focus foundation becomes a reflection and other people see us as strength. They see us as the ability to be ourselves. They see that the tools that we have inside each individual is special. Each individual's ability is special. Each individual's challenges is special. Then they start to see the reflection from within themselves. They start to see the strength from within themselves radiating outwards. They start to recognize that that ability to use what they have inside becomes that kind of a blessing. And so that is why it is important to write stuff down. That is why it's important to listen to positivity and to start to see how you can turn the angle positive. How you can see that you can take the challenges that you have in front of you and you can face off against them, to where you can find that place inside of yourself where other people aren't willing to go. You can find that place inside of yourself where you have that ability to get to that place of blessing, where you can become a blessing in this universe from utilizing a foundation of you, from utilizing the foundation within yourself, from the ability to use the things that you do have. And that's what it's about. It's about you using you utilizing yourself. It's about you using the things that you have within you when other people say, I just don't know if I can do it. And you've been so focused that you're achieving that you're achieving things that other people would not be able to achieve. You're reaching stages where other people aren't able to go, like reading energy inside of a human being, for instance. Level of meditation to reach that level of understanding, reaching a level of energy within oneself to where you can understand other people's energy because you've mastered your own, where you get to the place where that kind of reflection radiates outwards, where this is a very special piece of ourselves. This is a very special piece of our own challenges. This is a special piece of blessing that we have these kind of abilities within ourselves to find these kind of challenges on a daily basis. You know, the universe is going to ask you this question. How bad do you want it? It's going to ask you when you wake up. It's going to ask you when you get ready for your day. It's going to ask you when you're having your first meal. It's going to ask you when you're putting yourself in a place to exercise, a place where you're going for your position. It's going to ask you ultimately on a daily basis, is this what you want? You know, it's up to your mentality to reach that level to where you are not limited. It's up to your mentality to reach that level to where the reflection is radiating outwards. It's up to your mentality to achieve a level of focus to the place where the tools that you have available to you become available for you. And so that's what it's about. It's about reaching that place inside of yourself to where you overcome your own challenges. It's about reaching that place inside of yourself where other people start to recognize that what you got is what it takes. What you got is something that other people wish they could have. It is you. It is each of you. It is each individual to be themselves. It is each individual to face off against their own challenges. It is each individual to recognize that you can do this, that you can achieve this, that you can become this, that you can get to that place inside of yourself. And so when one focuses to that point, one truly focuses to the point where the challenges that they face off against, they start to overcome. When truly focusing to that point where the reflection radiates outwards, to where the light inside of you becomes a radiating light, where your level of focus becomes your foundation. It becomes a foundation within you. It becomes a place. It becomes a building block. It becomes an ability to see that you can do this, that you can achieve what other people were not able to achieve when you are willing to be yourself, when you are willing to go through your own challenges, when you are willing to face off against things that others would just, they would give up. Realistically focusing to that level where other people would just give up, and you are still continuing because you have taken the tools in this universe and you are utilizing what you have. When you are utilizing what you have and you truly put yourself in that kind of a place, you put yourself in that kind of a place where you can do this. It's when other people see that within themselves that they see the blessings that are available to them. It's when they start to see the universe start to work in their favor. It's when the universe asks you these types of questions, if you can do this, and you start to answer back with, yes, I can, because this is where I focus my energy. This is where I put my place. This is where I understand that the universe has the ability to use the tools that I have. And so that's what it's about. It's about using the tools that you have. It's about using the things that you can do on a daily basis to the point where the universe answers back to others, well, he must be that kind of a tool, so we need this type of tool. We need this type of tool so that the universe can utilize you. We need this type of tool so that the universe can ask you the question, is it possible? Is it available? Is it able? Is it within yourself to reach a level of light where focus becomes a foundation, where focus becomes a platform, where focus becomes a part of your daily, to where when things are happening around you, you are so focused that you understand the reflection that's coming from within, that you understand that ability to use your level of focus to the point where what is on the outside no longer has the ability to overcome you, that what you are overcoming is everything on the outside, from within. From that ability to reach that place where you are using the gifts that you have, you are using the things that you have available to you, you are using the person that you are on the inside. And so it's never about that other person. It's never about somebody else's story. It's always going to be about you. You're always going to be the one that will have or not have the things that you need. It's always going to be you that's going to have to lift you up. It's always going to be you that's going to have to recognize that you can do this even when everything else around you is falling apart. It's going to be you that's going to have to see that ultimately within oneself, the place where you can get to that level of foundation where the tools in this universe start to work for you, they start to work with you, they start to work through you. It's going to be in that place where you start to manifest the reflection outwards. It's going to be in that place where other people are going to start to see that what you have is what it takes. They're going to start to see that what you have is that ability. They're going to see that what you have is something of greatness, that you are a blessing from the Most High in this universe, that the challenges that you face off against, you can overcome. You can get to that place within yourself where the Most High can utilize you, where the Most High can work through you, where the Most High can use the things that you have and the abilities that ultimately you have come from your level of focus, your ability to see that those challenges are nothing less than things asking you the question, can you focus to turn them into positivity? Can you focus to the point where they start to be turned towards your direction? They start to be moved in your direction. Can you focus to the point where when you are asked the question, Do I have a foundation? And the foundation is coming from within me. The foundation is coming from that level. The foundation is coming from that place. It's coming from that ability to go within oneself to find that kind of light. That type of light can radiate outwards. That type of light can be utilized on a daily basis to the point where you start to achieve things others wouldn't achieve. And so, so once it starts to go inwards, once it starts to become a part of the process, once you start to become that kind of student from that kind of preparation, from an able mentality, it starts to go within you. It starts to go to the places inside of you. It starts to use what you do have. And so ask yourself, are you utilizing the things that you do have? Are you utilizing the ability to go within yourself? Are you utilizing the blessings on a daily basis that are available to you? Are you utilizing this mentality in such a way that the focus inward starts to happen, that the inwards journey starts to become available, that the inwards path starts to come through that connection of focus to the point where it goes within yourself, to where you start to work on the inward self, where the inward self starts to become a part of that, where it becomes a part of your process, you're part of your ability to use your tools that you have. And so when you start to absorb it, when you actually start to absorb it, that energy starts to flow inside of yourself. Now, as that energy starts to flow inside of yourself, it asks you, are you focused enough to break down the subjects of energy within oneself? Are you focused to break down the energy inside of oneself to the point where you can understand yourself? Are you able to break down the energy inside of oneself to the point where the challenges inside of you, you start to ultimately overcome? You start to find a way that the energy inside starts to become a place of absorption, starts to become a place of heat, starts to become a torque within oneself to where the universe can utilize what you do have, to where the universe can use the things that you have inside of yourself, where when you go within yourself, you are creating so much energy that becomes a blessing to have challenges. It becomes a blessing to have things that we have to work through. It becomes a blessing for us to gain that kind of focus to where we start to break ourselves down within ourselves to understand ourselves. And so as a student being inside of a classroom, working through the subjects of oneself, the energy fields that exist inside a human being, we start to recognize that that is a mastery in itself. That it is a mastery to get to the place where an able mentality gives us that ability to overcome challenges that others might not be able to achieve. When it's not you versus anybody else at this point, but it's you versus you. When it truly is you inside of you. When it is you with you. When it is you at a point where your breath is connecting with that knowledge inside of yourself. When you're ultimately getting to that place where the student is inside of the classroom of you, where the student is inside of the classroom of you, and other people are starting to see this kind of person. They're starting to see this kind of knowledge. They're starting to see this kind of understanding coming out of you. That they start to see that kind of light. And so when they start to see you facing off against your own challenges, you picking yourself up, you giving yourself the ability to get down with the person that you are on the inside, you ultimately taking that stuff on for yourself, you putting yourself in that place, and you giving yourself that ability to find those kind of challenges as something that you are ultimately willing to take on. And so in that type of a place, that is when we see ourselves in a dark tunnel within ourselves. That is where the light starts to happen. That is where the energy inside of yourself starts to radiate. That is where the energy, and that's why it's called an energy reading, because it can definitely see the energy inside each individual human being. You're welcome to leave comments if you'd like to get an energy reading done as well. So when we start to go through the dark tunnel and we start to recognize that we can do this, that the only person who's going to lift you up is you, that the only person who's going to get down to the person who you are on the inside is you, that the only person who has that ability to do that is you, when it's not about somebody else anymore, the energy starts to ask you the question, were these lessons something you truly wanted to work through? Were these challenges something that you truly want to gain the knowledge from? Is this something that you understand how to break down? Can blessings, you're welcome to call in if you'd like. I do energy readings. I've been doing meditation for nearly a decade, just about almost 8 years now. I read energy as well. So meditation is a reflection of self-study. Meditation is a reflection of one's understanding of oneself, of one's breaking down the energy fields within oneself, one's ability to utilize what they do have, and utilize it on such a way that you bless other people, that other people's worlds start to become brighter from your own self-study, from your own ability, from your own challenges, that you can overcome your own challenges. You can find that place inside of yourself where you start to face off against the things that might have stopped you before, that you can find a way to understand how energy flows inside in such a way that the utilization of the mastery of the things that you're gifted with, that you have the ability to use, has that ability within oneself. It has that ability to give you that kind of ability to overcome those challenges. Let's see if we can get you on here. So hopefully you can go ahead and hop on there. You can actually be able to get a reading going for you. And so meditation gives the ability for us to be able to see these kinds of energies within ourselves. It gives us the ability to find those kinds of challenges as things that, and I try to connect there. I'll try one more time for you. I don't know why it's not allowing it to connect. So let me go ahead and see if I can actually do something for you here. All right. So basically, when we give ourselves the ability to be inside of ourselves, I'm going to try to throw you a call here on Facebook, okay? All right. So at about year 7, 6, I started to be able to read the energy inside of a human being. It took quite a few years to get to the level where I could actually start to read and communicate with people on the level of energy within oneself. So essentially, I've been working at this mastery for quite some time, nearly a decade. I'm 34. I started when I was 27. So that's what I mean by that ability. And so this is how it actually works, is the energy inside of a human being actually flows. The knowledge inside of a human being actually flows. The utilization of energy inside of a human being is that ability. Yeah, I'm trying to get you on here. There should be a What's Up as well. If you have the What's Up app, there should be a connection there where you can actually be able to send me a message through it. Because I tried. Blessings. So as I started to find out that I could definitely start helping people out, I started to really want to help to uplift other people. I wanted to start to get to the ability to face off against those types of challenges, to tell people it's possible for you to start to recognize the energy that you have inside of yourself, you know? It's possible for you to face off against the types of challenges that you face off against and to overcome them. And so Like for instance, last night I did about 7 energy readings. And so within a period of time, I had gone through multiple energy readings and helped out multiple people. And so that's the purpose, is that ultimately to actually help you guys out, to actually start to see that it is a very available gift to us. In fact, science uses this all the time. They use this in such a way that they recognize that, energy is real. They recognize that you can pick up a heat sink and you can truly see the energy inside of a human being. You can see that that is real. And so seeing it with these and seeing it with that means that it both exists. It means that you have that ability within yourselves to reach that level, to get to that place within oneself to where it definitely starts to become available. If you send me a friend invite here. So, David, you have a lot of, you use a lot of thought process, my friend. A lot of this stuff, you're very slow to act. You use a lot of the yellow energy field. A lot of what evolves around you is actually yellow energy. So that's why a lot of stuff has happened around you. The place that is affected, though, however, is actually the nervous system. And so that's why you don't like to have a lot of people around you. It's because that energy that flows is there. It's the Nadi system that actually is the one that's in need of work. It's in that Nadi system, which is the 20,000 nerve system, that we start to overcome things like claustrophobia, like having multiple people around us, like that type of challenges. So I do have my What's Up on my network there. It has the ability, you guys definitely can call in, and it's not about not utilizing other energy fields. It's about which is most dominant and how we can utilize the energy inside of ourselves so that the things that are around us have the ability to grow, like the challenges that we go through individually. Are you with me? So I basically have been doing meditation for nearly a decade now, and I got to the point where I could essentially start reading these energy fields. Yeah, so exactly. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Is that it has to deal with the nervous system. It's partially, it has to deal with mentality, has to deal with how you write this stuff down, start getting in that habit, putting it in front of yourself. Let me see if I can get you on, bro. I don't know why it's not letting me pick people up through there. I got like multiple YouTube as well as Facebook Messenger going. But yeah, no, I mean, I've been at this thing for quite some time. So all things I'm dealing with been highly sensitive and lately very challenged. So this has to deal more so with the depth perception. So depth perception is a color that you're probably seeing around you quite a bit, but you're trying to ignore it. And the depth perception color is purple. The depth perception color is the color where we see, like, if you take a step, that is a type of depth perception. That is the ability to take a step, or to, move your arm, or to move your anything, actually has to, like, physically move or see to the future, is all related to the same stuff. Yeah, so understanding that there's more than one form of meditation. There is more than one form of mastery, just like when lifting weights, there's an inhaling breath and an exhaling breath. Mastering the internal relation with the energy, also known as shavonic energy, which is basically and essentially testosterone. Okay? So the external energy works on the nervous system. So they're connected to each other in that kind of a sense. They're connected to each other in a sense that the challenges that you face off against are whichever type of energy you're utilizing the most dominant. And so, like for yourself, it's the thought process. So the other parts become affected by the thought process. They are not able to reach like a sink of energy within oneself to where it starts to become achieved. And so that's where the other pieces can start to feel that way. So that's what meditation starts to teach. It starts to teach the ability to break down those energy fields, to go inside to reach a place where the able mentality can actually take over and the knowledge can actually come from the lesson. So that is just knowledge. And the thing that stops one from being able to do so, because I can only read portion of this message here, is that the energy inside comes from the first seed of knowledge. So this means that, I mean, in a sense, everything is related to everything that you'll ever learn, right? So let me see if I can go ahead and get you up here. So here, I think I got you, bud. Let's go ahead and see if we can get you online. All right. Try and make a phone call to you, okay? Hey, David. How you doing, brother?
Good, man. Hold on. There we go.
So yeah, so last night I did about 7 energy readings. People are starting to actually ask me to start they want to start tipping and paying me for these things, but I'm here to help you, brother. What I see is depth perception. That's your highest challenge that you're facing off against. It really comes from the foundation. It comes from the ability to start getting back down with that focus. Like, a lot of times we have all that other stuff going on around us, and you know, you've been fortunate where you don't have all of those other, because I understand kind of type of stuff you were doing. We're working with you a little bit, you know what I'm saying? However, recognizing that each individual energy field is definitely important, works with the human being. So like when I look right at you, I see yellow. You can actually look in a mirror and you'll actually see yourself as yellow. So that's because your thought process. So the yellow energy, which is around the stomach and the 7 energy fields that exist inside, is there. So what's happening is like the ability to actually see that is not happening because you're not using the strength that you have. You getting what I'm saying? So you start using what you do have to strengthen the other pieces of you. So if you know you're weak in the legs in a gym, you start working out the legs in the gym, but you use the knowledge that you have to strengthen the legs. You with me? So the energy, the thought process is there, and that's why you literally could you can see it inside. Like when you look right at me through here in the mirror, in the camera, you can actually see yellow. You see what I'm saying? So your being is yellow. The actual energy that you use is yellow. And you can feel that weakness in the depth perception and also in the ability to voice yourself, because your depth perception energy is weak, which means that the understanding part of your heart is there. Like you understand all of your family and everything like that. It's the ability of the relation, the actual working it out of your system and actually getting it out into the upper chambers of your thought process is the reason why you feel sensitive. Are you with me? So the way to start to utilize it, to actually start to get down with yourself, to where you recognize that the legs are the thing that you need to work out on, you know what I'm saying? Just as the metaphor, is by recognizing that, is to recognize, okay, I know I can focus. I know I can use this. I know that I can write stuff down. I know that I have this type of strength. Now, since I need to strengthen this, go write it all down in front of yourself and say, okay, I'm going to take this and I'm going to see how I can turn all of these positive and negatives into positivity. See what I'm saying?
That's essentially what I'm doing. I've got a lot of negative symptoms in my body and stuff, but I believe they're related to anxiety. And I have to take those symptoms and attribute them to something positive or something neutral to get my body to stop feeling that way and to get the subconscious mind to understand that, hey, I'm safe. Because the subconscious mind is trying to keep me in a spot of anxiety because it's attributing anxiety to safety.
So this is where it starts, though. It starts with this. When you look at a mountain, you're going to climb a mountain. How do you climb a mountain? So you got to prepare, right? So you're going to go for a big hike. You're going to go get camping gear and everything like that. So you got to first write it down, right? Then you got to see. Realistically, it's like Dane Pena says, we're in a war against ourselves. So you got to come up with a battle plan. Do you get what I'm saying? And that battle plan starts out with preparation. That battle plan starts out with, I am going to turn this positive. There is no neutral. Like, this is what's screwed up. This is what it is. This is the types of challenges that I'm facing off against, and I'm going to write it down in front of myself so I can prepare myself so that when I go through this hike and I know that I go into this river, I have Gore-Tex socks on so that I don't get water into my shoes even though it's snowing outside. Do you see what I'm saying? It's that same kind of mentality that reaches that place, because when it's you versus you, unfortunately, there's no neutral. When it's other people, you might be able to blow it off. You might be able to be like, yeah, sure, whatever. Like when I was like sleeping in my car, my wife left me. I was meditating every single day. I was in a place where, everything should be falling apart, and I loved it. What I'm saying is that you can use those same kind of things. Use the ability, like turn off the radio. Like, how all those subconscious things get through the radio? Just eliminate. When you're driving, you don't have the ability to write stuff down. Turn on motivational videos like Les Brown, like Grant Cardone, like Tony Robbins, like myself.
That's what I've been listening to Tony Robbins a lot lately.
But there's other people. There's like Les Brown too. There's like Gary Vee. There's so many. And it's in such a way that I spent the last 2 years literally driving. I've been driving for 4 years, right? And I spent the last 2 years listening to just those as I was driving. And I'm almost at the point where I'm starting to get I've already gotten the energy fields understood and mastered all the combination of energy fields that flow inside a human being. So now I can actually tell people how, okay, use this, it will help you. Getting what I'm saying? So like yesterday I did 7 energy readings and people were like, hey, we actually want to pay you. We actually want to tip you. We want to, because what I'm saying is that I started to understand, that's my mastery. You with me on what I'm saying? So what it is though, is that you're intelligent. That's the yellow energy field. It's the energy field that's in the stomach, the capability, those things that are around. And well, it's just a tool, right? We all know that, like...
The famous chakra.
Yeah, so that's the reason why, like, when you're looking in the mirror, or you're looking in the camera, looking right at me, you can actually see yellow. Like, you can see it.
Yeah, when I'm looking at you in my camera, I can see yellow.
So that's...
If I look at myself in the mirror, I don't see yellow.
But that's what it is. Really what it is that that's it. So that recognizing how that is the strength would be like a person who has big shoulders not working their shoulders out. You getting what I'm saying? So when we use what we do have and we recognize the challenges that we're facing off against, the ability to overcome those challenges start to come to us. Like, for instance, last night I was doing a reading and there was a person who they had a lot of purple, which is that ability to see the depth perception. That's why you can feel like sometimes like you even get headaches and like you just want to just shut off. Is because the depth perception needs strength. And that's why I could see from the levels of the chambers there, even through the nervous system, that. And so recognizing that that person needed to go for a walk, right? So their yellow energy field is strong and their purple energy field is strong, but their dominant purple, so they can see, but the thought process always works. That's why you're always thinking. That's why when you were doing your stuff, you're using that, and that was working in your favor. You with me?
Yeah. Hey, I got a super phone call coming in that I was waiting on. I didn't expect to run across your video and talk to you today, but I'll shoot a tip your way. I gotta jump off. I have to take this call.
Blessings, brother. Have a blessed day, okay?
Thanks, bye.
And so when we recognize these types of things, we truly start to help people out. We truly start to get to that place where other people start to see their strengths inside of themselves. They start to see that the challenges that they face off against, they can overcome with the energy inside of oneself, with the ability to use these types of things on a daily basis. You know, that's why I'm out here. I really want to uplift people. I want people to see that the knowledge and the focus is capable within oneself. That ability inside of yourself